Yes, we're live, it looks like. Awesome. So, how is everybody doing today? Let me see. Actually, I might be going off temporarily. I want to check the graphics settings to make sure we're good to stream before we. Alright, we're back. I just wanted to make sure that the graphics qualities were good enough so we don't have any stuttering or lag when I'm going through the matches with you. So, how is everyone doing today? I don't see anyone yet, so I'm just gonna assume everybody's doing good. Is that good? Yeah, it's good enough for me. Yeah. I'm not sure if we'll have any co-casters today. I haven't heard any responses back at all, so just assume for the moment it's just gonna be me until proven otherwise. And I think going forward, I've decided, in terms of naming the streams as well as the stream descriptions, I'm basically going to make it more open-ended, right? I'm not going to assume, for instance, that we're gonna have co-casters, because some people might not be able to come. Sometimes we'll get more than the initial number of people we thought we were, right? Like last week. Basically, I thought it was just going to be me and Stefan doing Wars of Liberty together, casting those multiplayer games, but one of the developers, JT Maston, jumped in, so there was actually two people there. So I think doing more of an open-ended approach is probably the best way to do it, honestly. So I think that's what we're going to adopt. In the meantime, though, I'm going to get the stream link for this and share it with you all, and to all the Discord servers that might want to watch this stream, basically. Get on top of that right now. Alright, I got the linky, and I'm just going to send it to a bunch of Discords that might want to show up. I think there's only like a handful of Discords that actually shows my stream going live automatically. So unfortunately, we do have to wait a little bit. I have to wait a little bit before I start seeing a lot of people showing up exactly. I'll just do the copy and pasting right now. Get started on that process. Alright. Put it over here. Put some over in these ones. Content promo. Perfect. Yeah. If you ever do streaming yourself, make sure whatever game you're going to be doing for your live stream that you get involved with, like different social media, particularly Discords, that you can share the stream links on when you're live. There might be some places that really likes what you do and they'll have a bot there that does it for you, but a lot of the time you have to manually, copy and paste, those stream links yourself, basically. So definitely make sure that you know some Discords that might want to watch your content, and that's how you get off the ground running very good, basically. Yeah, that's certainly what I had to do, and I think I'm very fortunate that I knew that early on, and I didn't really have to be told that, basically, so I think that gave me a pretty good edge. Again, started out as a YouTuber and streamer, for sure. I think another advantage I had early on, too, was the fact that I was well established in the Wars of Liberty scene, so I already had a group of willing people actually wanted to watch my stuff right away, so I was able to get started from somewhere. Not everybody has that privilege, though, of having a foundational community of people that are going to watch your stuff, so you have to start from basically 0 up to 100 and growing, basically. And while I haven't had the biggest growth as some people that get a lot of advertising do, I'm still pretty happy with where I am today. And things keep growing in the right direction, I think. So, yeah, that's very good. I think I'm about halfway done with the link sharing. Let me think. Let's paste one over here. That should be good. I think these Put one over here. Over here would be nice. Should be good. Then put one in here. Think there's like one more I might want to do. I will probably do this one here. Okay, I think we're good now in terms of getting all the Discord servers with the links spread out. It looks like we got our first viewer of the day too. DE again? Nothing beats Wars of Liberty. Haha. You're right. That's why on Thursday we're going to do another Wars of Liberty stream. Yeah, that's sort of going to be my mantra now. Half the week I'm going to do DE, the other half of the week I'm going to do the Wars of Liberty games, because I have two big AoE 3 scenes I got to do casted games for, both the DE and the Wars of Liberty, so I got to sort of do both, It's good to mix it up a bit, you know what I mean? See some of the Napoleonic style DE gameplay at the beginning of the week, and then you cap it off with the really good Wars of Liberty World War I stuff. So I think it's good to mix and match it a bit instead of doing all one or all the other one, because I got people from both DE and Wars of Liberty that like to watch these streams of mine. So we gotta cater to everybody that we possibly can. Now, once we get a lot of people playing Age of the World and Age of Pirates mods, I think we could probably even do a stream with that too. And there's nothing out of the question that I could start doing streams for Age of Mythology Retold if people are willing to give me their recordings for that too, I feel like I've been around the block enough in Age of Mythology, especially during the Retold beta periods, that I could also potentially cover that as well now, because I think what Age of Mythology Retold technically did in a way, I think, is basically made it much easier to read what the different bonuses actually are for the major gods and the minor gods. So it's a bit easier for someone that doesn't play every day, sort of, to know who's good with what, how the units work, how engagements work. So I think I'm kind of in a good shape in terms of that, really. Last thing I'm going to sort of do now before we get started with anything is, downloading some matches for us to actually do today. I got a pretty good laundry list of them. I'll just download a couple that I see at the bottom here that look pretty neat. Then we can work up from there, I think. That's usually the way I do it. About 5 of them to start. If we have any other syncs, we can obviously go further up in the list. And trust me, we're not going to run out of them, HVNI does an excellent job getting me game recordings to do. I got millions of them. Billions of them, in fact. More than you can ever even do in a lifetime, and it's excellent, You can do just about anything you want, Deathmatch, FFA, and I'm also very happy the same thing's going on the Wars of Liberty side, We get so many people recording their games for me, not just from one source, that I can cover a lot of stuff there too from all skill levels, which is really neat. So yeah, definitely, whether you're a Wars of Liberty player or a DE player, even an Age of Mythology or an Age of the World player, send me your recordings. I will do them for you. I'll even do Age of Empires 2 games if you want me to. Nobody's ever sent me recordings for that before, and that's something I've wanted to do for a while. So if you want to get me started on that wagon, I'll happily do it. I've been around enough times in AoE 2 to know sort of what's good, what's bad. I might not know the builds exactly besides the real basic stuff, but in general I know when you probably should be getting your gold, when you should be getting your stone, how to wall properly, even though I might not be able to do many of those things myself, but I've seen enough people do it over the years, and had it be used against me that I'm pretty well practiced against it. So yeah, I got about 5 recordings. I'll make sure that they are actually there before we get started. Load. Record games. Yep, there they are, all 5 of them. Perfect. Also, something to note on the Wars of Liberty side in particular, make sure you always name your games. You know, it's hard sometimes when I have like a million files to know what's what sometimes, so make sure you like name your games, like what the map is, what the civs might be, who the players are, anything you think that really matters, and something that'll stick in my head when I first download it. Any bit of information is good. So that way when I know I'm jumping into something, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing, I can track that down in the Discord, because if everybody does record game 1 or whatever, there might be 20 billion of those, and it turns into a parentheses conundrum trying to find them. So definitely make sure you name your stuff so I can find it easier. If you don't, it gets a little bit complex, for sure. We're at about almost 11 minutes now, so let's get started. Now, I don't see Stefan coming at all, so we're probably going to be doing this on my own today, at least for now. If he does show up, I'll change some audio settings around so we can have him. I will be starting off with this 4v4 ranked up here, because that sounds pretty fun for us to do. If it auto-syncs, so well, I don't have enough time between work and stuff to check these for auto-syncs, so if it happens, I'll just download some more until we get it working, right? Yeah, so let me get the full view on this. And who do we got? We got Spain, a Ottoman, a Mexico, and a France against 2 Spanish, Aaliyah with the Lakota, and Eternity, but not a Juanita Bolivia, but actually an Asian one. I didn't know Eternity came in different flavors and nationalities, but I guess he does. Or she does. Or whoever Eternity is. But yeah, I guess before we even get into like the real action though, let's check out the map real quick and see what it looks like. The map today appears to be Great Plains, I think. Yep. Trade route up here. Basically, you have to travel up here to get the trade route, but these TPs are always nice for the team that can really clinch this for sure. Also, really good natives on this map too. You got Cheyenne, you got Apache. Really good cavalry natives that you can use for really good raiding and maneuvers, honestly. So definitely grab these if you can, potentially. Also, you got the bison, of course, so some pretty solid hunts too if you know how to herd them or defend those hunts from raiding, of course. Obviously, Aaliyah as the Lakota is going to have a field day here since he's the Lakota and he can raid all over the place he wants to with his axe riders. So definitely watch out for that. I wouldn't want to be dealing with Lakota on the Great Plains, both from a historical and an Age of Empires 3 perspective. Just not something you want to do. Definitely. So I'm kind of curious how this one's going to go. We got a lot of Spains here. Like, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff with maybe FF, FI. A lot of, like, pretty interesting builds we might see here. You know, Mexico is always a wild card because you don't know if they're going to revolt, whether they're going to play normally. Ottomans for sure are going FF, FI. France, you know, always has a lot of options as well. They're pretty flexitarian in what they can do. Lakota, though, Lakota, I think, in particular, knowing Aaliyah, is going to focus a lot on getting a good food economy. You know, Aaliyah's pretty good about shipping in lots of bison. Again, those hunting upgrades going to make the hunting really valuable for himself. So I think he's definitely going to be doing that for sure. So looking at whose TC is this. So this is the Blue Spain. Blue Spain has a pretty late gamey deck, which for a 4v4 is totally appropriate. Has a lot of the essentials. You got your Liberation March, which is basically your training upgrade for Spain. You got Refrig, Mint, Textile Mill, Rum Distillery, Exotic Hardwood, so lots of eco cards that you need. Furrier, I think, is great for this map because you do have a lot of bison, so you can definitely make some good value with that for sure. Unction is always an interesting one if you can use it well, because you essentially can buff up the stats of your infantry and cavalry really good with the power of Unction, for sure. So yeah, quite powerful, indeed. How about their, who else is on this list? We got the French also on that team. The France is, they're playing a little bit more combatively, I think. But in particular, they're going to be emphasized, I think, on Dragoon, Hussar, and Cuirassier gameplay. Though they do have the Senegalese riflemen to make their skirms good and valuable. Also helps the team out as well with their ranged infantry. Has refridge, good for the food economy. Also eco theory, which helps everything out. Interesting, has 7 royal horsemen shipment. Okay, never seen that before, but alright. They're a very powerful unit, they got a really nice trample attack. Quite powerful, actually. Oh, I see, the Chinese eternity has a panda. Very interesting. It's very interesting to see different flavors of eternity outside Bolivia, for sure. I wonder what he's doing, actually. Which one is him? Oh, he's going with, a pretty bankish Dutch deck, right? Very banky. And that's very good to be banky, because the Dutch have lots of good banks with really good coin trickle, to the point that you don't even really need your merchants on mining much at all once you get enough banks going, for sure. And I can tell here too, he's going to be going with a mostly mercenary based deck based on the Dutch state's army. It does make your normal units more expensive, but it does allow your mercenaries to basically move and train faster. Gives you access to the Highlander and Royal Horsemen, so if you don't like the mercenaries you got, essentially you can get something that you want. So that's always good, for sure. And who's this? We already saw him. Ottomans. Let's see what Ottomans are doing. So it looks like Ottomans are going to be playing pretty late game based, it looks like. Which I think for the sake of a 4v4 is pretty appropriate. Has really all the important upgrade cards here. Cav Combat, Topgular, Sabesi, Matrazzi School, Riding School, Engineering School. Really all the upgrade cards that Ottoman military really needs here. Grenade launchers, Endurance School, Kiluli School. Very good. Very good. Also has some pretty good eco-techs here as well as Silk Road, so I'm not too worried about that Ottoman deck at all. Gorilla Girl Spain. Infinite 300 wood. Certainly not too used to that myself. This is looking a little bit like a wacky FF sort style deck. Instead of going for the 2 Falcons, has the infinite 1 Falcon card, which, depending on how many shipments you can get, maybe that's better. I prefer this mortar card, though. This mortar card's much better. Upgrade for the Explorer, which you don't always see. Very interesting one. Kind of out of the box, which isn't a bad thing, It's never a bad thing. Now, what's Mexico gonna do? So, Mexico, well, what do we have here? So, we got, Chipotle Tactics, Royal Decree, Plan of Tuxtepec. So, a lot of bonuses to these soldados I can see here. Even has the refurbished firearms, which also effectively gives the soldados a grenade launcher. So maybe this is going to be revoltless. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And lastly, Aaliyah. What's Aaliyah doing? Aaliyah, the star of the show, is doing a variety of cards here. So wood coin, some upgrades for the cavalry, definitely some Tokawa soldier shipments. So yeah, looking pretty good. This is like the highlight of Leah's gameplay, though, the 13 Infinite Bison, because essentially it keeps his food economy rocking for the rest of the game. You combine that with Great Hunter, the Team Spice Trade, and the Furrier, and you got yourself a really good late game food economy. Especially when the later you get the Bison delivering Politician for the Lakota, the better it actually boosts your gather rate for the hunting itself. So it's better to wait off on that whenever possible so you can get the best possible hunting rate for your Civ. Yeah. Right now, things seem to be pretty calm and collected. People are just grabbing native sites, it looks like. This is the purple Spain on Aaliyah's team who grabbed the Cheyenne. And then with the help of the war dog's going to try to eat that other dog, basically. Yep, taking them out. And I think it's going to be a war initially of the native sites. Who can burn down whose trading posts and claim it for themselves. Looking right here, it looks like green and yellow have their side of the trade route. In terms of the native sites, it looks like so far Aaliyah's team has one native site here, another one over here. But it looks like on the other side, the French have the two native sites over here. So right now it's pretty balanced, you know, pretty fair and balanced. Now there's another native site over here that Red could grab. Would be a pretty good idea, I think. Also, Red technically has control of this one and can start to build that trading post for 100 food and 100 wood if you want to. So raid with it if you want. Yeah, raiding is always a good idea on the Great Plains. You know, it's very open, there's not a lot of natural barriers. If you can get a Sora Cav, including these Cheyenne warriors, go and raid your opponents. Start taking out their villagers, target their hunts where the bison are. Because you just don't know when you're going to get that advantage layer in the game to just whittle them down and get that edge for your whole team. You know, obviously focus on your own eco, getting your late game stuff in order. But if you can fit a raid in or two, go do that. It's just really a good idea. See, Aaliyah's picking up adoption over here too. This is always a good card to get. Basically helps you get your villages out quicker and adds a lot more XP into your pocket when you make those villagers, for sure. From what we can see right here, looks like the France is going Hussar raiding against the Aaliyah team. They're going to have a bit of problems, though, because the Cheyenne Riders, though they are sort of like a Hussar-style unit, they do have multipliers against cavalry, right, that they can also upgrade at the Cheyenne native site as well with one of their techs. So you got to be careful. If you're going to engage Cheyenne warriors with Hussars, you need the satisfactory numbers to do so. Looks like he realizes that. He's just taking off with the last Hussar he's got, you know. Also, Aaliyah's already got his Takalis. Oh, wait a sec. It looks like Aaliyah has actually sent the team card out so that all the team members have access to some Tokala soldiers to work with. You know, they can either raid with them, or they can use them in a little bit to provide a nice Lancer option with their regular army to take out their infantry with. So that's certainly very nice. More Hussars have arrived. These ones should be able to knock out this last Cheyenne warrior here if he targets properly. But unfortunately, no, the Apache have arrived. These are native dragoons, so these will threaten those Hussars and make them non-viable, basically. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely, for sure. One second, I hear something coming in. Be right back. We're going to keep continuing on from where we were. Looks like actually this France is also going for a bit of a semi-FF here. We can start to see them going to age 3 with the marksman. So they're going to get some nice free skirmishers with that. If he looks like he's still going Hussars, so it looks like definitely we're going to probably be seeing veteran Hussars at some point then. And looking at the deck, for sure. Oh yeah, I mean, I think we're most likely going to see veteran Hussars or shift over to Dragoon or Cuirassier from them. Especially looking at the focus on cavalry combat cards here, for sure. On that side. Looks like which oh, that's the Pink Spain. The Pink Spain over here is actually already gone for an FI. So they're actually already starting to get their factories out right now. Yeah, this is the Industrial Revolution. This will offer a factory wagon, as well as some Spanish chests of coin, because they researched the really nice card Spanish Gold. And what Spanish Gold is, for those that don't know what it does, basically after you send this card, all your cards will basically deliver about 330 crates of coin pretty much. And that's really good because that makes your cards a lot more valuable. And if you're doing something like Revolt, you need to afford some coin for like a cannon or cavalry or something. That's just a really good thing to have in your back pocket basically. So yeah, that's just really good in general. And I can see right here the Spain is actually already starting to go Lancer. So yeah, I think definitely all that Spanish gold coin is going to give them a really nice, massive, basically Lancers to attack with here, for sure. And it seems like they're teaming up too with the purple Spanish Apache Riders. This is actually a really good combo, because basically the Apache Cavalry can take out the hand cav that might threaten the Lancers, and the Lancers can just drive down the infantry. Only thing you have to worry about a bit is obviously things like Dragoons, which one of the other players can clearly assist with, you know. Even a group of Highlanders like this from the Dutch can certainly be used against Light Cav, you know. 63 range attack, not bad. Not bad at all. Can do quite a bit of damage. Yep, they're all flagging into this area, and they're probably going to convene over here somewhere. Whereas the bluish team, they're building lots of walls. They're trying to turtle this thing out as much as possible. Yellow's got walls over here. Teal and green, they got walls over here. Blue's got walls over here. Everybody's walling up and turtling, basically. Yeah, pretty much. For sure. Oh yeah, and two, another good thing Spain has access to. Viceroyalty of New Spain. Gives you access to 2 haciendas, and one of the options of production from those haciendas is actually the ability to produce soldados, basically. So Spain can not only spam out a bunch of lancers, but they can also make soldados, which is, you know, very strong form of musketeer. Yeah, definitely very good. Did he get, no, he doesn't have the Royal Decree. I like getting the Royal Decree with these soldados because it does grant them about 25% more HP with the Corselet technology from the church. But it doesn't look like the Spaniards did that. Still pretty solid unit regardless though. Skirm press forward. Cav support. Let's go. I love Valia's commanding orders here of how to front the assault here. Oh, Fusiliers too, not bad. That's certainly very useful. Now, what's going on this side? What are these guys doing? So, the France is going Musketeer and Pike. Pike, Musketeer. What are they doing? And then you got Pakotas just focusing on Eco, getting Furrier, using the Fertility Dance from the Community Plaza to help with villager production. So when it is time to go fight, they'll have enough resources on the Bison and other map resources to do that. Oh, it looks like this Mexico has revolted. Very interesting. So they have revolted. Quite fascinating, actually. For sure. What are almonds doing? So almonds are already on 3 town centers to get the Ville production up. Right now they're doing Veteran Janissary. And what cards have they really sent at this point? So they've gotten some of their combat for the Janissaries right here. They still got some other cards to go, I think, in terms of upgrading them. They do have refridge, so their food eco is going to be pretty solid at this point to be able to afford more of the Jans, you know, since they are a more expensive musketeer than normal ones are. Normally your muskets are like 75 food. These are like a whopping 90 food. Well, in Legacy they're 100, but here they're still 90. So yeah, definitely more expensive. Looks like Blue Spain is doing Veteran Musketeer. This is a serious problem for this team here. I feel like what's happening is they're trying to take on Lancers with barely upgraded infantry. Like, you're not going to stop Lancers with Veteran Musketeers in that small of numbers. And you're definitely not going to stop them when they got a wall of Soldados right behind them, pumping in 43 range attack for them. Just puncturing their HP. This is a really good composition, you know? Masked up Highlanders with some trackers. That is really strong. That is really powerful. You know? When you mass up Highlanders like this, you got a ferocious army. Really, you do. What's Leah doing? I'm just curious. Is he producing? Nah, he's not producing any more Tocalas, but he is doing the attack dance right now with the Community Plaza, so he's actually beefing up the damage of his own units here. Giving them a whopping 53 hand attack with 0.5 additional against the infantry. Wow, really good stuff, for sure. Very powerful. Like, look what these Tokala soldiers do to, like, skirms and muskets. Like, this is the thing I ran into when I was facing Chorizo in that tournament one time. It's like, how is the Glingo knocking me out with, like, 2 Tokala soldiers, you know what I mean? You didn't know. Fact of the matter is, just 2 Tokala soldiers can wipe out a whole regiment of infantry by themselves. And you see it right here. Like, when you mass them up, oh, it's even worse. It's even worse. You know, you combine that with Highlanders. This Leah team is doing a beautiful unit comp here. Just covering all their bases. You know, natives, Highlanders, Tokala soldiers, Spanish Lancers, Soldados. These are all wonderful, strong units. And when you combine them all together, it's a monstrosity that's already forced 3 of the players to resign on the other side. The only one left is the France, it looks like. And they're going to be resigning any moment, I think. We'll see, though. We'll see if they resign. GG. GG. Very good. Very good work from the Aaliyah team there, for sure. I mean, looking at the post-game, you can tell how good their economies were as a team. Quite impressive, you know, far out seeing that their opponents for the most part, you know. Quite good. In terms of military, those comps of theirs, you know, the Highlanders, which we see there, yeah, all these units, just really dangerous stuff, really deadly weapons, you know. It's just doing really good stuff. These are definitely some unit comps you want to combine in your own games, for sure. Especially these 4v4s, where everybody's army comp really matters when that's combined into one mass, you know. Gotta make sure you're all making stuff that helps everybody out, pretty much. Just sending a thumbs up to Stefan. he doesn't think he'll probably be able to come today because he's got a chess tournament coming up, which, it's fine. I've already got the ball rolling myself, so we can totally handle the stream on my own. I started out on my own, I can finish it on my own too, so yeah, totally fine. Hopefully we see him again though, maybe if not this week, maybe next week or so forth, I know you all like him a lot, and he's really been a good asset to our streams, I think. He has a lot of good insight, a lot of experience, he plays pretty well, so yeah. Whenever we can get really good co-casters to come on with me, it's always a nice treat for everyone, I think. So yeah, definitely. So now we're going to be moving on to the second match that I got loaded in here. Let me see where that is. So that one is right over here. It's actually going to be a Deathmatch Survival FFA. We actually did one of these in the last week's DE stream, but it was synced deep into the game. I'm kind of hoping this time that the Deathmatch FFA Survival actually goes through to the very end. Because that unfortunately wasn't the case last time. We saw like a whole lot of fighting, but it just, you like to see the ending whenever possible, for sure. So yeah, let's get started with this. This time it looks like we're going to be seeing Swedes, Chinese, and Ottomans. Quite a different lineup than last time. We did see the Ottomans in the last Deathmatch Survival I did, but we didn't see China or the Swedes. Kind of interesting, because normally the way you think of the survival map, it's like playing Supremacy and trying to round out your cards to make sure you get everything organized for proper build orders. But when you do in the Deathmatch, you do have those initial resources to start making things, but I think you do have to plan your city out a bit more carefully, right? Like how this Ottoman is already starting to produce mills. Because if you don't make the mills later when you don't have the wood, yeah, that might be a GG for you. So you definitely have to consider economic resource buildings a lot more carefully, I think, on the survival map. Because, trees don't grow on trees, basically. There are no trees to get more wood. So when you run out of that wood, you better hope that you have a means to replace it with either wood trickle, or factory, or something. Yeah. Trying to throw in some of their emergency units forward at the Ottomans. Ottomans are going to respond with their own... Well, actually, no. Yep, their Bashy Bazooks. And yeah, that was synced. At least it was very quick, and it rejected us very quickly. I'm a little hurt, but... I'll recover. I hope you recover. I was really looking forward to that one. So instead, what we're going to get is a 2v2 ranked Supremacy. Ottoman FF, Ottoman versus India, France. Sounds like a really attractive match for sure. Let's get into that one right now. So, we're on this map. I like this map. This map has the nice river in the center of it that winds through it, and then you have the sections of the river you can't cross, and you have the little fords where you can cross, and it leads to some pretty interesting choke point situations too. And I do like the natives on this map as well. I mean, you got the Whittlebach natives, you got the Wen, House of Wen, so some really good natives on it for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. Two Ottomans, Aliyah and Apache. They're going to be fighting India and France. Well, this should be interesting, I don't know who I would throw my hat towards here. It's really hard to say. But we'll find out, though. Find out. Now, when you have two Ottomans on one team, I gotta ask, how do you manage that? Can you both afford to actually go FFFI together, or... is one guy like the fighter guy making Janissaries and the other one's doing the more late gamey stuff? How does that work out for you? I know when we look at France and India, you do have some options in your back pocket. You could actually, as France and India, go for a semi-FF, I think. India doing sepoys from their Agra fort, France doing hussars from their stable. That could be an actually pretty good rush strategy. And then when you're ready to sort of get that fortress age going, then you got an India with elephants, you got a France with skirmishers and falconets potentially and dragoons. So, I mean, I think France and India could synergize really well with their FF strategies, or their semi-FF strategies. So yeah, that's pretty nice, for sure. But at the same time, if you can max out super late gamey stuff with the double almonds like Safahis, Great Bombards, that's also very daunting, I think. So we'll see how that turns out exactly, for sure. Looks like Apache's Explorer's in a bit of trouble there. Almost got eaten by those wild oinkers over there. The great thing about taking out these particular guardians is they do grant you a bit of a food reward when you kill them, so that's always nice, for sure. Beep, beep, beep. Yep, warned them about that. So what's this France doing? So this France is going... What's the name of the deck? Laque no fire. Laque no fire. What's that mean? I know some words in Juanito language, but not all of them. So what is that? But, I guess we can sort of look at these cards and figure it out for ourselves. Now, this is kind of interesting. He's got a lot of resource crates. Like, he's not only got the wood, the main wood and coin ones, but also the food ones. Yeah, has a covered wagon, frontier defenses. Late game has thoroughbreds, grip of the Beal cannon system, improved buildings, factories. And what's this card again? It's the team House of Bonaparte. Oh yeah, early skirmishers. So yeah, got some interesting options there. Now for his ally India, because he actually does have trainable skirmishers in Age 2, that would simply mean that the Gurkhas will train a bit faster. So for Sids like India that do get Age 2 skirmishers, it basically makes it like a little mini fencing school for that one unit, basically. Whereas India is playing more... I think they're playing semi-FF here. You know, at least they have the options for that, because the only thing that's really different than my deck, I think, for the Age 2 is the inclusion of the Flail Elephant team card, which I've used that a lot in the Legacy game, but for whatever reason I haven't used it that much in the DE game. It's certainly great if you have like a team to get this, because the Flail Elephants not only are great at taking down buildings, at least from what I know from Legacy, they also have some multipliers against skirmishers and archers, so they can be used against some soft, non-melee combatant targets as well. At least if they're slow. You know, if they're fast, that could be a bit of a problem, but that's all another story. Yep, Team Kalari, so Team Arumi, this will definitely help out the team. Team Tiger Claws, Team Shivaji's Tactics. So some pretty good team cards for this India. Same on the France side too. You can see right there they have the Team Bonaparte one for the quicker training Gurks. It's actually the only team card they got. I'm surprised he didn't get Team Senegalese Riflemen to help out India's Gurkhas further. That might have been a pretty good one. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Now, what we really need to find out is how are these Ottomans going to operate together. So, looks like this one is going Team 2v2b. Looks like it's going to be an FI based around the royal decree, because we do see the mosque construction and the palace intrigue in there. So not only does he have the royal decrees, he has the card to basically make them cheaper, those texts cheaper. So you can get some Nizam Fusiliers, get some Safahis, get some Great Bombards out. Whereas the other Ottoman has the same sort of option in their pocket, but they got a little bit of early combat too. You know, they got the Rumbaliya shipment, Janissary shipment, H3, they got Cab Archers and Falcons. So, you know, they could looks like the Apache Ottoman could play more of the combatant role do more of the upfront fighting, whereas the Aliyah Ottoman's going to be focused more on age up times, I think. This totally looks like how it's going to go. Oh, it looks like semi-FF, at least for India and France. Barracks and stable. France will be doing likely musketeer or crossbow. Oh, they actually got the House of Bonaparte, so they're already trying to train skirms from their barracks, whereas India's going to be doing sawars. Now, this is a pretty interesting combination. You use the sawars to attack their skirmisher units and their artillery. You use the skirms to fight any dragoons that might threaten the sawars, but you can also use them to attack the musketeers, which also threaten the sawars. Only problem, though, is really strong hand cavalry. You know, if you see any Safakis, that would basically force India to switch up the Zama barracks, which is actually a H2 dragoon on a camel that they actually have access to. So, you know, in a way, India isn't as limited as other civs would be by going stable. You know, not only do they have their sort of like Hussar equivalent, but they do have an early dragoon up their sleeves as well they can use. It's pretty massable, you know. It's not that strong in like overall damage, but it is a one-pop like cav unit, so you can mass it up pretty good. Which sometimes can be hard for your opponent to fight, right? Just like the Dutch do with their riders, basically. That's pretty bold by Apache. I wonder if he even did that as like a distraction. Put the trading posts on the enemy team side of the map. Quite powerful. Oh, it looks like Aliyah did the same thing. He's got the yellow TP over here. Really powerful stuff. Quite powerful, actually. Ottomans love to generally grab trading posts because they like to combine it with their Silk Road card, which... Does anybody have over here? I don't see any Silk Road here, but yeah. In general, grabbing the TPs for Ottoman's great, even without the Silk Road, because it does propel them more into that FF and FI situation that they're usually looking for. Oh, there's that Team Flail Elephant shipment in action over there. Yeah. Yeah, now I'm realizing that this was actually the Indian and French team side of the map overall, but still, they are going pretty forward here. Sure. Now, I did see some AZAPs come out on this blue Ottoman over here. Sure. Yeah, the AZAPs are a pretty interesting unit. Yeah, what makes them pretty cool is they're technically pikemen because they have that poleaxe, which is great against cavalry. But then at the same time, they have a bow, which actually has multipliers against dragoons. So they're kind of like a crossbowman and pikeman combo unit, basically, you know. Now, unfortunately, they don't get any multipliers with their bow against, say, heavy infantry, but the fact that they cower cav as well does make it, I think, understandable. You know, you don't want them cowering too many things. Soon, Aliyah will be going to Industrial Age. As long as everything goes according to plan, which it looks like it is. He's got about enough food to get working on that. Enough kebabs have been inserted. Just needs a bit more EVA coins to go. It should be going up. Avoid shoots. Yeah. Basically, he's trying to warn them, make sure that you don't get into too much range with those skirms, because right now you got a lot of like heavy infantry here that you totally don't want getting wiped out by these skirms. Also, the cav archers are another soft target when it comes to skirmishers, so you definitely have to stay away from that. But he is trying to engage a little bit with the sawars, it looks like, and do a bit of control here. Oh, but here comes the flail elephants now. The flail elephants, you know, they'll be a good meat shield to distract the cav archer's aim, I think. For sure. Yeah, looks like, yeah. It looks like Blue's actually defending pretty well here with his cavalry and his infantry here. Leah's going to be supporting his ally here with some really powerful industrial age shipments. You know, he's actually got enough shipments to get one of these Safahi shipments to go here. Could either get the smaller infinite shipment or get this really... Actually, it's the same number of units, actually. So, yeah, just... I guess in the end of the day, just spam this one out. Yeah, definitely. Definitely get this one. The reason why this one is more expensive, it's the team card. So, yeah, you can totally get that to his ally. And then they'd really be attacking with like 8 Safahis instead of just 4. Which even for a team of 2, quite valuable, I think. Quite valuable. A team coin card. Team 1000 coin. Oh, wow, that's pretty good. You know, with that type of thing, you could let your Blue Arm and ally actually get some artillery if they wanted to. You know, because it looks like they're picking up their crates of wood right now, and then you combine that with some coin. Yeah, you could actually get some decent artillery from that. Now, this is not good. Look at these Courier de Bois up on the front lines here. Totally exposed. And Blue, being the simp that he is, isn't even targeting them. Trying to be a gentleman. Trying to have some sportsmanship. Now he's not. Now he's actually going to wipe them out. You know, that's why you don't put your hunting villagers on the front lines. You need to keep them behind your production buildings, you know? And you don't do that, this happens to you, and you gotta be careful of that. For sure. Like I said before, India is starting to transition over to these Amber barracks. Because I think they know now that the Leah's industrial age, Safahis are going to be a real threat. So we best start getting those light cav now in preparation for that, you know. Especially considering individually Zammer barracks are not that great, but when they come in big giant numbers, yes, they are very great. Just as great as their stench is, because have you ever gone to like a farm or a zoo and smelled a camel before? It really does stink. So I can imagine being a heavy cav like the Safahi must really be obnoxious when you're dealing with a bunch of smelly, stinky camels like that. And the more camels you add to the stack, the stinkier it gets, and the more likely you are to lose your curry for the day as India, basically. Spew all that curry out. Or if in the case of almonds, your kebabs. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know about France, though. France eats some pretty wacky stuff, so maybe they can handle the camel stench a bit better. You know, eating goose liver and snails and all that. What do you think? You think French can handle the smell of stinky camels in that big of a number? I think it's totally possible, you know. Not discounting that. Now, this is a bit of a problem. Again, having your hunts exposed over here, they really should have been on this animal. And trying to herd them back towards the TC a bit. If you're going for this hunt all the way on the side here, you're going to risk getting raided by light cav, you know. Thankfully, this game does nerf the light cav a bit by giving them a malice against villagers. But, yeah, pretty much. The thing you gotta worry about is the more light cav they actually get, even though they do have a malice against the villager tag, eventually, that doesn't matter. They're going to start one-shotting things one by one by one. And taking advantage of that speed to kite them. Push, ignore that. Ignore what? Yeah. Yeah, basically, this is a problem. You never want to leave your allies' bombards exposed like this. You essentially want to make sure you keep that covered at all times. Oh, yep, this is push with me now. Yeah, you need to get your force of infantry there to your ally, because what's going to happen is there's a real potential chance that France or India could scramble up some hand cav and completely flank those bombards. Like with this, actually, because even with like a group of Zams, you could put them into the melee mode and go right after those cannons. And if you don't have like a protective force to deal with that with like say Nizam Fusiliers like this or Azaps or something, yeah, they can go right for that. Go right for the jugular. But like he's doing that right now. See how the Zams are right on top of the bombards? When you stick them right in the creases like that, there's a chance that some of those Zams aren't even going to get damaged because of the way the cannonball physics works in this game. So yeah. Thankfully though, the infantry did arrive, so they were able to save all 3 cannons, even though this one is 1 shot away from dying. You know, that was a good last minute maneuver by Apache to get to Aaliyah's cannons in time. Now it's over, and they know it is. 3 bombards. Yeah, you can't deal with that, especially considering Barad and Jaeger is still in age 2, of all things. Dry Zams are not going to fight 3 bombards easily. You saw how hard it was for them, and they didn't even take down one of those cans. Or they never even took down this one, so yeah. Definitely an interesting situation. Looking at the post game, we see for sure resources were sort of all over the place. Ottomans going right for the FFFI build. Really weren't too concerned about economy as much as India and France were because they were doing more early age stuff. In terms of military, the power of the bombard in the Safahi, 117 kills. Astronomical. Nobody really compared to that. Not even the Ally did. Not even the Ally. So it's all that fighting there for the early part of the game. It all didn't match anything up compared to this. And that just shows you what an FI with Ottomans can do. You could have the biggest, baddest army in the world, but bombards and Safahis just completely ruins it all for you. It's really traumatic if you're not ready for it. It's really dangerous, in fact. Oh, so it looks like Stefan Mitrovic might be seeing us next week then. Awesome. He's got his chess tournament this week, so he'll be busy doing that. He says chess is my life, and under 20 country team championship is not something I am missing in playing. Not prepared. So he definitely needs to get prepared for his chess game, you know. Whereas I gotta be always prepared for my AoE3 games, yeah. Because AoE3 is my life, you know. It's the best game ever. Best RTS there is. Prove me wrong, you know. Maybe even better than AoE2. That's saying a lot. But anyways, let's get on to another match. Got some other ones here. How many more do we got? We got 2 more in here, and then we can potentially do some other ones. I'll just keep doing them until I have to go do something else. Keep you as entertained as possible. What's this one? So we got a 2v2 deathmatch, Swedish and Dutch versus, say, Mexico and British, I believe. I wish that was Brazil, but I know there's no Brazil in this game except for the revolt, so unfortunately we have to wait for that. Sad, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's not as sad because you got Wars of Liberty to handle it for you. For sure. So, where are we exactly? So, we're on that open map. I remember that I've seen in Rank before where you got these little canyons protecting the trade routes on the side here. Pretty fun map. Tupi natives, right? Yeah, so you got... Oh, and you got Carib, so lots of Archer natives. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty direct fight, I think, between the teams in general, you know. Obviously, you can see right here before we even began, they're already getting their church up to get mercantilism and get those big batches of shipments going. Again, plenty of torps or houses, or whatever your villagers live in, depending on the country, you know. Yeah, because that's essentially what Deathmatch is. Whereas Supremacy can be a little bit more mellow, at least at the start, get your build order going. Deathmatch, the fighting is right up and personal right at the first few seconds. You know, people are literally making their Minutemen, like you see here, and running them across at somebody's TC just to distract them, and so they can get their army out and start pounding you like it's a boxing match. It's really action-packed. So yeah, definitely very action-packed for sure. So yeah, let's get started with that. Yep, everybody getting their church going. When that mercantilism arrives, you better know how many shipments they're going to get. 5 shipments. Very impressive. And in general, you see with these deathmatch decks, it's always mostly late game and late game infinite shipments. So you got your refridge, your royal mint, your textile mill, cigar roller, sustainable agriculture if you got that, rum distillery, eco theory, and all your combat cards too. That's generally what it is. And you could attest that to all of these, right? Again, same sort of eco, military focus. Something you get good with the British, though, is infinite rockets. That's certainly a very powerful option, since rockets are something you normally can only get through the factories. The fact that you can stack them hard with the home city is really powerful. Usually what Mexico does in Deathmatch, which they are doing here, is mostly just spamming out outlaws at the start. So right here they got some suatreros, as well as the banditos, the Juanitos Malos, throwing their sticks of dynamite and using their rifles or their shotguns to blast at the enemy. Yeah, whereas the suatreros, you know, it's a cowboy on a horse, basically a dragoon, but they get this special charge attack where they throw a lasso, and the lasso does some splash damage, so it's pretty powerful. Yeah. Well, what Mexico's doing outlaws, it looks like the British will be doing dragoons. Seem to just be going hard dragoon right now. That's going to be pretty good here at the start, since Sweden, Sweden, is so known for its pikemen spamming. So unless you can get a big mass of pikemen going right away, you know, dragoons, that quick maneuverability and kiting potential, pretty good for the start of the game, you know. One thing to note, though, is that this Dutch does have the potential to fight back with some sort of skirmishers here, so they can't go too far into the lake cave. Red Dutch is sort of mixing a combo between riders and skirmishers. It's important to mix in riders with your skirms, because if you don't do that, then the British could obviously match in a bunch of their hussars, which they're pretty infamous for. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing a bit of anti-cav, a bit of anti-infantry. Sweden, on the other hand, is doing mostly field guns. Also, they sent the Gustavian Guard from the Royal Decree. Bit of nice halberdiers there to help out with anti-cav. Yeah, watch out for those factories always, too. That's definitely going to be something people are going to try to snipe later into the game. In particular, though, I think Alia's pretty infamous for sniping people's factories. He either does it with petards, or when he's the Swedes, he'll actually do it with the Valkarl Railguard pikemen. And that's some serious threat he usually does. So yeah, definitely should be very concerned about that, for sure. 100%. Yep, see those hussars I was talking about? This is why you need anti-cav like the pikemen here. Because if you don't have anti-cav, you're just going all cannons, British is going to spam out a bunch of hussars at you, and then you're going to lose all that initial coin to those lost cannons, and it's just a really devastating loss for sure. So having some pikes or something in there to help protect is very important. Now, this is a really good situation here. He's able to start working on these longbows with the Falcons, but unfortunately for him, longbows have a very insane range, you know, especially when you get Yeoman. They can hit those cannons from pretty far away to the point they almost become like partial anti-artillery, right? Also, like how Teal is already starting to fortify his position here and get walls, get towers. British are getting entrenched here for a fight, you know. Also keeping some coverings at the walls to try to blast back some of these Falcons. Unfortunately, the longbows did make it behind the other side of the wall because of what's going on over there, and they, as a result, got blasted head-on by falconets. They're going to have to go back a little bit at least and try to fire some arrows into those pikes, try to protect as many culves as possible. And as we see this fight progressing, we'll probably start talking about things like economy, right? while you're doing all this fighting in Deathmatch, you need to be watching your economy. You need to make sure you're making villagers, or assign them to estates or mills, or whatever your nation eats from and gets money from. As well as making sure you're getting eco-techs, like sustainable agriculture, which British is conscientiously getting. All that good stuff, basically. So, what's Mexico doing? So, looks like Mexico is getting some villages out, so they aren't going with an all-in destruction derby, pretty much. It looks like they've burned through most of their coin, though, because they've done pretty all-out outlaw here, you know. Well, they did add some vigilantes in, too, it looks like. But yeah, mostly Suatro and Bandito. They're powerful, heavy-hitting outlaw units. But they'll obviously need some coin from the haciendas to keep that stuff going, right? So yeah, we'll probably see a switch over to that at some point. Is getting the cows working on the haciendas right now, which I think is going to be pretty helpful in particular. He actually has the car Team Alta California territory, which ships a hacienda wagon and cows, basically, so that's great way to get some cows going for the Mexico Civ, for sure. Yeah, the great thing about herdables on the haciendas is that the herdables actually boost up whatever the hacienda is working on. So, if you have like a hacienda working on coin, basically, and you have no villagers there, the livestock herded at that building will actually assist that building out themselves, pretty much, in its gather rate, which is pretty neat. Aliyah again swarmed there by 2 players, able to push off Mexico, but succumbing a bit to the British. Is going to try to intercept the longbows and cannons, though, with the well-placed attack of Swedish hussars. It's going to take out a culverin, probably going to take out another one there. Now we see the riders moving in. Oh yeah, look at that fight there. Quite interesting, to say the least. Quite interesting. Really wants to take out those culverins, I guess. Wedge them right in there between both enemies. Well, looks like that attack was successful, but there are some culves still in the back, though, he has to deal with. Those, though, will likely be saved, which it looks like, yes, indeed, they will. Heavy cannons coming in from Swedes now. Are they coming in from the factory? Yep. Double factory on heavy artillery production. It's gonna have to make sure to keep those heavy cannons out of the range of the culves wherever possible, you know. The fact that you're basically constructing heavy cannons with those factories means that's one less source of eco for you, so you definitely need to make sure you're getting the most value for them, most bang for your buck, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, it looks like Angel of Death has transitioned into the Rangers. Yeah, the Rangers are pretty good, you know, compared to the Longbowmen. The great thing about the Rangers is, when you combine with Yeoman, they get like a solid 3.25 multiplier against heavy infantry, so they become like an MVP against things like pikemen, which Leah is really infamous for spamming with the Swedes. So yeah, I think that works out very, very good for him, basically. Definitely doesn't help that you're getting surrounded by hussars, though, and getting blasted by heavy cannons and skirms. That's like a really bad, like, area to end up in, for sure. Basically forces you, yeah, onto redcoats, because at least the redcoats can slowly chew their way out of the hussars. And it also helps a bit more because right now Britain's coin economy is not the best. They haven't really gotten time to get, looks like, any of their estate upgrades, you know, not Royal Mint or Textile Mill or Cigar, none of those, basically. So mostly food economy right now is the King and Queen of England right now, so yeah, mostly gotta focus on those. And what's Mexico doing at this point? So Mexico's, I think, just stalling out at this point. They don't really have the established coin economy they need. All I see Mexico producing right now is literally just the 2B Blackwood Archers. You know, good unit, but by itself, yeah, you're not going to win anything with that. Really. So, yeah. This, Mexico does need to get some additional coins somewhere. Whether from the British, who are currently don't have any pounds of pounds in them right now, or themselves, you know, get some pesos and sell some tacos or something. Who knows? It's Mexico, you can sell anything, basically. Get some dinero. Overall, it looks like the Aaliyah and I Am So Cool team is doing really well at pushing the envelope here. They blasted their way through the wall defenses here. And they're basically able to ignore this Mexican fort altogether because they've been able to open up this front over here, which allows them to go fully into the British, the only stable economy of the team there. And because Angel of Death is a real gentleman, he's got... Actually, it's not a gentleman, these are just pikes, right? Just ordinary guard pikes, not gentlemen of the pike. You know, British have some really good gentlemanly pikes with Gentleman of the Pike card, but it doesn't look like you sent that. You know, just got the old run-of-the-mill pikes. That's fine, you know, that's alright. Now, this is something you can do with British when you're like out of options and you're running low on coin. Just take all your shipments and spam out a bunch of rockets. Become Rocket Man himself, the little Rocket Man. Basically, make as many rockets as you can. Because rockets, they're a really good heavy artillery unit. They can even kill horses. Like, even though the hussars with their mass numbers are winning here, rockets are wiping out some of them. They are taking out some of their handcap, which you normally wouldn't expect, but they are doing. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried though at this point for like the British and Mexico team, because it looks like once your eco structures are under fire, yeah, British didn't build that hacienda for some reason, which I'm a little disappointed with. You know, when your friend sends you a taco or a burrito, you should definitely build it. It's delicious. It's good for your eco. Definitely get that thing down, but what can you do, you know? These deathmatch games are really hard on and very, very tough. It's like a boxing match. You're going boom, 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 trying to hit with units here, hit with units there. You can't always, like, circuit in your brain that you have to build something or do something. So it definitely takes practice, you know. And we all know that Angel of Death is a very well-known player in these games because we've seen him like a billion times. Almost as many times as Aaliyah in Deathmatch. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, that Dutch, you know, Dutch is always a rock when it comes to economy in Deathmatch, you know. That bank economy just gives them a really great edge in any Deathmatch game. It's just a really good tool that they got, essentially. And it put them really ahead of everybody else, even the British, you know, even the British with their, like, bigger acquisition of vills with the manors. Yeah, that's just really, really good stuff, for sure. 100%. And what about military? Who was the best warrior? Aaliyah, MVP of pikemen and artillery, and hussars. So very good work from Aaliyah. British didn't get a lot of kills, actually. Mexico got much more in their sort of duel with the Dutch, mostly. So, yeah, Subbloods do pack a bit of a punch, I guess. Looks like they do. I do like outlaw players in Mexico, though. Especially their Baja California revolt. Most definitely. So now we're going to be moving on to another deathmatch game that I got in the list over here. Let me see what that one is. What's this one? So it's in Eli Tom X versus Cool. Let me see. So I think it's India, Mexico, Russia, British maybe? Something like that. I don't know. We'll see. See what that is. Then we can maybe pull up some more games to look at too. From the wonderful ones, Elias. Oh, so it's Inca. In for Inca. I thought it was something else, India or something. Oh, that's cool. I like the Inca. Inca are definitely a pretty fun civ. I'm kind of curious about this, because we don't see a lot of deathmatch with the Inca. I can imagine, though, you have the advantage with the Inca, because it's going to be a lot harder for them to run out of food when they're doing all that fighting at the start, because, you know, the concha houses, trickling all that food and so forth. Just a really nice side bonus for you, for sure. Yeah, I think so. I definitely like the potential of the Huera fighters and the Bolus warriors. I think they can really hit well from range, for sure. Even their macemen might do pretty good here. We'll see. It's also, if you want to look for like 1 second, it's also on that really cool ranked map that has the lake in the center here. Yeah, pretty good map, you know. It's pretty varied map for ranked. You got a lake here in the center. You know, you could actually put boats in here if you want to and like board them across. But if you don't want to do that, you either have to come up here into the desert, into the sandy environment, or you have to go to the south in the more wet area along this trade route here, which has some nice trading posts that you can grab too. So yeah, I've always liked this map, you know. I tend to have a pretty good record on it too when I do like my ranked 1v1s too, so it's pretty fun for that as well. Oh, look at that poor Mexican fort, though, already getting torched a bit by the Russian Minutemen. British again going for that Dragoon rush. He could just take those... Oh, he's attacking the Mexican general. So he can stop that fort production. How devious. Very devious. Yeah, that's going to cause a bit of problems, you know. I think what we're going to see here again is Tom Nunez doing Outlaws on this side. Yep, here comes the Juanitos Banditos with their dynamite sticks. The Bomberos. Unstoppable Streletsy feeling not so unstoppable and running away from the loud explosives. I would do that, and that's why I'm running. You know, I don't want to get hit with a stick of dynamite. Spies? What's up with the spies? Is spies like a meta for deathmatch? I thought spies weren't that spooky in DE, you know, because they can't blow stuff up. They don't have landmines. They don't have all those cool Wars of Liberty tools they got in that game. So I don't know what's up with the spies. Like, why do people get spies? Maybe to see what their base looks like. Totally possible. Yeah. Like I said, those Huericas are going to be a really nice tool here in a deathmatch game, which you see that combined with some light cannons, which is pretty powerful for the Inca. You just have to sort of be careful of those Dragoons, though, that can pick off the artillery a little bit. It's going to try to start clobbering them in melee with some of the Chimu runners, it looks like. Yeah. But don't they get multipliers against the Chimu runners since they're like a form of shock unit? I don't know. But I don't know why he's making any sort of like plume spearmen or something. Maybe some of those jungle bowmen to shoot the light cab with. Kind of an interesting... Now, this is a good... Bolus and Huerica is a good way to take out the longbows for sure. Especially considering how the Bolus can offer a bit of anti-cav, whereas the Huericas are really good anti-infantry and good against cannons, and they're great at sieging too. Streletsy is feeling so unstoppable right now because there's so many of me. How many of me are there actually over here? There is about 73 unstoppable Streletzys, but the only thing that might be able to stop Streletsy is sticks of dynamite again. But when you back them up with some horse artillery like this, yeah, unstoppable Streletsy's feeling really unstoppable, breaking through the line of banditos. Mexico is going to try to flank with some Chinanka riders, taking out one horse artillery. Maybe take out another one? I think, no, they're not going to get that one. So the horse artillery are doing pretty well right now. They're doing pretty well right now. Gonna take out those Chinankas, right? Yeah. Biggest thing you always run with Mexico, I run into with Mexico, is the burnout of your resources, because, you know, they gotta spam a lot of coin-heavy things like the outlaws at the start. So yeah, Mexico definitely has some choices of what to do, for sure. Using a couple of proto chicks there on the Russian side to hold off the Chinankos a bit. But now the Chinanka numbers are becoming a little bit more substantial, requiring a bit of a bigger push of those proto chicks at them. Yeah, they also send some proto chicks in that direction, but unfortunately, you know, the Stoetzis have to back up a bit to let them do what they're going to do. Those Chinankos twirling around their lances like a bunch of loco Juanito burritos that they are. Oh yeah, most definitely. Look at that. Pretty insane stuff right there. Now you might want to take those horse artillery and start blasting some of the buildings, especially those towers. Yep, like that. Yep, start going pop, 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 popping those towers. Yeah, start doing that. Whereas British, they're combining pikes with longbowmen. Putting the pikes in cover mode to withstand longer against the Inca slinger units. Pretty interesting. Or bolus units, I should say. Incas don't use slingers, they use those bolus things that, you know, they snare you down. Switching over to Red Coat though, so a little bit of range, a little bit of anti-Chimu. Bad idea. Probably going to try to form a line up over here to try to defend against that, which working pretty successfully right now, you know, going into full melee. Now they can safely go back and shoot again. Ah, so Russia's actually offering some aid here in the form of Cossacks. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be able to take that one out, that tower, probably the other one too. Good to watch both sides here whenever possible, see what they're sort of doing. And Mexico's running out of pesos as well, you know, they're gonna have to sell some tacos or maybe some Juanitas Bonitas to get their dinero back on track, for sure. Whereas the Inca are forced on the trash wars at this point, forced to get the jungle bowmen since they don't have any coin right now. Says he needs cove or hand infantry. Yeah. Russia seems to be doing pretty good in resources, you know, making a lot of unstoppable Stoetzis is a great way to save on coin since it's a food and wood unit. Food and wood skirmisher. I wonder how effective the lassos from the Suatreros are versus the Stoetzis, you know, because they're not the strongest skirmisher in the army, really, so. Wonder if you can get like enough lassos into the Strelets if they actually get knocked out pretty easily. Seems like a good number of them are getting knocked out a bit by these Suatreros, so yeah. It's a bit tricky for them. That powerful siege archery of the longbowmen in action. Gotta save those horse artillery while you still can. getting raided down by Chimu runners and jungle bowmen. None of them surviving either, which is really sad for the British. Quite interesting. Oh yeah, I mean, at this point it's looking like British basically have to hold on to that wall position if they hope to keep the Incas out from pressuring them with the Chimus at all. You know, the scary thing with the Chimu runners in any game is they run very fast, and then they obviously have that big button ability that lets them run even faster for a period of time, and then, you know, they wipe out your economy basically, so you gotta be super duper careful with that. Now, I think what might be a real problem here is Mexico losing ground to the Russians. Russians overall have been pretty solid with their economy and have been generally been able to hold off the coin technologies and cards even just by doing mostly food and wood. Refridge, food silos, sustainable agriculture, and eco-theory with exotic hardwoods has made unstoppable Steletsy production pretty easy, you know, so they've just been able to focus on that for the most part. Though they are going to have to add in some other stuff in now, since the Chinaka riders. You see how many actual bullets it takes to, like, blast one of them? So yeah, they're going to need something here for that. You know, maybe Cav Archer. Yeah, they're going to try to front it with some Cossacks for now, which you can do too. You know, the great thing about Cossacks with Russia is it's a one-pop unit, so you can have, like, double the stack of them as you could, like, normal Hussar-style hand cavalry. They're trying to make a real aim for those Falcons, though, which looks like they are going to succeed at. Strelets having a bit of an easier time with these Suatreros, especially with the Chinacos off of them for a little bit. Yeah, they're going to have to come up with a bit of a solution for that. Doing more unstoppable Steletsys with some mortars here. As long as you can, like, defend this choke point here. Well, actually it doesn't matter because these are gates that Mexico can go through at any time. Russia has to get these howitzers to, like, hit their targets, I think, and slowly start to shell their way through here. At the same time, it looks like sort of a stalemate on this side of the wall between British and Inca. British is running out of tea and crumpets and fish and chips and whatever else stuff the British eat. So yeah, they're going to have to get some of that to afford some more longbows, or Hussars actually. If he's going to be making Hussars, that's a pretty costly unit to get, so he definitely needs to make sure he can afford that. 100%. Making some porucheks, some of those nice polearms of the Russian army to attack the cavalry with. Where's the Moors? Still has some here, right? Yeah. He's going to try to make him fight on these lines here while he uses the Moors in the back to start shelling his way through this flank over here. Using Portuguese as the frontal troop and unstoppable Steletsy swarming in the back to just shoot their way through everything for a pretty reasonable price. Yeah, Russia's economy is really good, you know, they've packed their deck with lots of good eco cards, including the exotic hardwoods to keep the Steletsy production going. Over 10k food this late into the game, not bad. And just enough coin to allow some Portuguese to come out. Gonna have to reposition a bit here because now you're getting shot by Banditos, Juanitos Malos. The very high anti-heavy infantry attack, as well as their sticks of dynamite, which can push you back a bit if you're not careful. Gonna try to flank a bit with Cossacks though to put some pressure on them. Gonna want to get some stuff over here though to attack these cannons with, because once those are put in the bombard attack, that could totally threaten you. They could even make some shots at those mortars if they want to, but it doesn't look like it actually, because Strelets are. It's actually gonna make a move on with the Banditos. Is that right? Now the Cossacks there to intercept. It's gonna start shelling right now. What is Aaliyah up to? What is Aaliyah doing? So Aaliyah running out of food, running out of his Inca food, his quinoa and potatoes, whatever they eat. And the Chimus are, doing some pretty good work there. Yeah, I'm mostly forced to use Chimus because of the onslaught of artillery and also grenadiers. Grenadiers are a pretty interesting unit for the, Europeans. It's not one you see every day, but it can be quite powerful for not only sieging, but their splash attack too. For sure. Nah, I can't hold. Can't hold this tortilla anymore. Cossacks gonna start ripping into the haciendas. Sending. Yep, looks like they're gonna break through on that side. Yeah, not even intervention of the Chimus I think is gonna work in the long run here. I mean, you can see Inca definitely struggling to keep resources coming out. Like, they're basically forced into this game of mostly trash units. So you can't be in a situation where you're gonna have Aaliyah, the MVP of AoE, keep coming to save you. You need to sort of hold your own rank lines over here. Doesn't look like he's doing, he's mostly fighting two enemies now. He's trying to knock out unstoppable Strelets here while being sieged in the north by British artillery and siege archery at the longbows. So yeah, it's like a two-front war for Aaliyah, which definitely doesn't feel that good, I can imagine. Yeah, they're starting to get sieged up here, so they're not going to be able to hold this line for much longer. Only thing stand between British and the economy at this point is these town centers here, and on this side by some of the Mexican infrastructure on this side. But the Cossacks are already starting to get into the settlers though. Trade soon, food for coin. How much Mexican food does he got? So he doesn't have a lot of bean burritos that he can turn into money at this point. I can't build fast enough. Well, the Cossacks run too fast, so you can't outdo a Cossack, right? Spam outlaw. Spam the Juanitos Malos. Wiping that out. Yeah, this is just becoming really hard for the Mexico to deal with. Basically Russia coming in on two fronts. Cossacks down here and doing the main assault up on this side. Quite dangerous. Oh, what is he gonna do with the Purchicks? Is he gonna go here? He's gonna move some over here and start. I would start moving these Purchicks wherever I can to just start sieging and stuff, making it really hard. Okay, so British are doing alright in Eco, so yeah, I wanted to check up on that too, see how they're doing. It's really, well, Inca have a lot of money. The Inca's got a lot of coin going now, so I mean, they're going to be able to keep up with some Chimus as needed. Yep, Chimu, Chimu, Chimu. Chimu, Chimu, Chimu. Take out the grenadiers, take out the longbows, take out the cans. The only thing they gotta worry about is the hussars because their tankiness and their ability to go toe-to-toe with them. But, yeah, totally expose your squishy units up here again, squished by the Chimu runner clubs over here. And completely knocked out. It's gonna buy you a little bit of time, I think. The question is, how long can the Mexican side hold off before they get completely trampled? That's a good question, actually. Oh, adding in some of the Yoruba natives as well, the Uso riders and the oh yeah, the warriors too. Yeah, the Yoruba have some pretty good natives. Definitely. Yeah, that line is definitely not going to last very long, for sure. Completely wiped down Ravage over there. GG. Called it. GG. Yeah, looks like the end. The end is near. The end is near. Where's yeah, Inca's eco is just completely ravaged at this point. British, Russia, definitely more resources, so they're gonna resign a second. Guaranteed. GG. It's over. You were toast and cooked. We rarely ever see Aaliyah get cooked by anyone, you know. Aaliyah's like the MVP of AoE, you know. Does Deathmatch, does Supremacy, does Team, does Single. Aaliyah does everything and does everyone in. So yeah, really one of the best AoE 3 players of our time, probably. In terms of post-game, for all the times that Aaliyah was running low on resources, looks like he actually had quite a bit of eco going there. So he was really battling against the odds, against both sides, it looks like. Who did good in kills? Well, yeah, I mean, in general, when you're fighting up against Russia, it's normal to get a higher kill count because, you know, unstoppable Steletzis, they're unstoppable because there's so many of them. So yeah, you're going to be taking out a lot of. But I think 801 kills for the Russians, not bad. Not bad at all. British certainly did good in their engagement against the Incas, you can tell from the kill counts there, for sure. 40 raises, though, from the Russians, between the mortars and everything else. Yeah, great push by the Russians. Truly a good push by them. Hey, wow, live. Spies for line of sight when building church. Oh, I didn't know that, HVNI. So people actually built throw some spies forward to like scout out their base basically when they get the church down. Kind of an interesting idea, you know, I wouldn't think of that normally. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to get some more games from the downloads. I got a lot of like deathmatch survival games, you know, the one we did before out of sync. So why don't we get some of these and see how good they are, basically, if you want to. Let me see. See which ones look pretty good here. That one. Alright, these look pretty good. Just wait for them all to download. Shouldn't take too long. Yep. Little spinny wheel. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I think it's this, and this. These ones. Alright, I'll copy those into my save game folder for DE, and then we can look at those ones. I'm kind of warned that they're kind of chunky or kind of big, so if you like watching some big deathmatch games with me, these will be really fun, you know. We'll see if we can get at least one of them done. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see how we can do with that, and maybe I can cover the other ones too at some point. Let's load. Lock and load. So what do we got here for choice of deathmatch games? So we got a 1v1 deathmatch survival. So it's a India versus a Inca, looks like. Yeah, but before I do that, I think I'm gonna pick up this call right here. So give me 1 second. So looks like the plan is I'll do one of these now, and then after that, basically, I can cover the others as separate recordings or VODs, basically. Because I don't have a lot of time left, so I got enough time, though, for like one more recording, and we should be done with the stream. I think this one's alright, so unless this one crashes, I guess we'll do this one. Alright, let's do this one. Okay, so it's Tom Nunez again, but instead of Mexico, he's going as India. The Mahatma Gandhi Civ, and Aaliyah's going to be doing Incas. Again, like we just saw. Should be pretty interesting. Yeah, this must be pretty cool when you're playing like a Native American Civ in Deathmatch, for sure. You can like really get big swaths of units like instantaneously through those big buns at your TC. Like, imagine all the siege potential you get from spamming out all these plumed spearmen at the start. Like, 52 siege a whack, that's pretty big. And he's already going to start charging with them. He's already going to start charging in with those things. For sure. Yeah, the thing you run into with the survival map, obviously, is there's no trees, no animals, no water, no mines. It's just an open pasture and desert. So you can run your plumed spearmen like this right at your enemy's throat like this, and it's absolutely brutal. But what's also brutal is India going on to the Ottoman consulate just to pop out 2 great bombards for a cost of export. These bombards are going to be a great defensive tool for Tom Nunes to essentially take out as many of these spearmen as possible. I like how Tui was sort of using some of his monks there to kind of distract the opponent a bit and catch him a bit off guard there. It's going to force him to retreat now. Yeah, Inca's got to make sure they get the Rico techs pretty early on here. So he's going to get auto key to trickle some wood. I think in particular this auto key card here is actually really important for the survival map because you don't have any trees that you can actually chop wood from. So that's really going to be most of your wood eco for this game right there. So if you have to make things like jungle bows or plume spearmen that cost wood, or you have to build more infrastructure, you're going to have to switch those concha houses over to the wood trickle from that to make it doable. Pretty much. And what's this? Couriers, all infantry and cavalry are trained faster. Basically Inca's version of fencing school, so that's going to be really good. On the other side, India's doing a combination of infantry and grand bombards from the consulate. Combine those those Baghdad Janissaries and great bombards with some of the Indian infantry and some of the Sawars. Bombards are going to force the plumed spearmen back, it looks like, in the Chimus. Has a couple of macemen here, though, waiting for him. We'll have to wait and see, though, how they set this defensive up, basically. Trying to do most of the melee over here against this front, but also trying to flank a bit with the Chimus towards the bombards. Unfortunately, India placed their Rajputs in a really good position there and we were able to intercept them. Have some Gurkhas there for the long-range combat. Howdah's going to be really powerful here because those are basically going to be pretty good at popping off those shock infantry pretty easily, I would think. Oh yeah, I mean, like 90 times what against the hand shock infantry 2.2? It's almost like all the HP of these, or actually is the HP of these Chimus for the most part. Oh no, though, look at the Huerica fighters just slinging down those bombards right there. That was a really good snipe by Aliyah. He's going to save himself a lot of time here. You know, those bombards were not only a threat to his infantry, but also his infrastructure. So he had to definitely take those out for sure. Yeah. Rajput's going to try to take the front over here. Howdahs and the Gurkhas are going to be on the back. Do some ranged combat there. Look at that nice line of the Hueras, though. Just completely blocking everything off. Deflecting against those Rajputs. But now they're going to have to worry about the monks. Those Indian monks, which is going to be a bit of a problem. Those elephants deal some splash damage. Now he's starting to lose a bit of a defensive touch there, and he needs to plan something. Thankfully, though, Aliyah has the economy advantage in terms of resource stock. So he can actually afford to redeploy some stuff to this frontier. My question is, how do you deal with a very powerful dragoon like the Howdahs is instead of like the Incas? Like, What's the most efficient way for taking down howdahs, especially when they're mixed in with things like the Gurks and the bombards like that? A lot of powerful range firepower from the Indians here. And still has enough export to keep up with the production of more bombards and janissaries. Gonna have to wait for the next batch of bombards to come next. Sort of using the Rajputs as like a frontal force to force them back a bit, you know. Rajputs can be pretty dangerous, so you have to be careful of those for sure. Oh no, look at these priests. What are these priestesses even doing here? They're not even doing anything. They're just sort of, you know, waiting to get shot or something. Whenever you like make units or whatever, you kind of have to make sure that you're basically managing them pretty well and making sure they're actually getting to use. You know, the priestesses can be pretty good because they can convert stuff, but if you're not going to do that and micro them properly, probably not the best unit to be deploying, honestly. Nah, probably not. But you get them as an infinite shipment though, so I guess it's not too bad. So you have all its like eco things at this point. Looks like it does, so that's pretty good. Just need to get some of these combat upgrades though. India doesn't have a lot of curry to eat right now, so they're gonna have to start working on, yeah, getting some villages out, you know. The thing that really is horrible about playing India on survival is, how do you get your like late game eco in a deathmatch? You know, there's literally no trees on the map, but your villagers cost wood, so it's like, how do you actually deal with that? Like, yeah, he didn't even get like any of the trickle cards. Like, he didn't get foreign logging, he didn't get distributivism. You would have thought that India would have grabbed some of those at this point, just to offset the need for trading at the market just a teeny weeny bit. Doesn't look like he did that. But at the same time, it looks like Incas are also gonna, you know, be struggling a bit here, but not really, because guess what? The concha houses can be transitioned to trickle wood. So you put the villagers on the farms, picking up that maize, you put the concha houses on the wood, and you can go trash wars into infinity and beyond with the jungle bowman. There's a card I don't have. What card is that, Aaliyah? What card are you missing? What card are you missing? What's up with this situation with India? Like, they're basically trapped in a corner in Inca's base, trying to slowly micro their stuff. Who won that? Who won that? Who beat who there? Was it India? Was it... I think it was... Who won that one? Do we know who won that one? Yeah, yeah, this is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I don't even know who won this one. Who won this one? Is there any way we can find out on the timeline who won, or... Yeah, that's kind of interesting, though. I think Aaliyah probably won that one because, he at least has economy, so he can afford to, you know. But I don't know, because technically India's army was dominant here, so I'm not too sure. Not too sure at all, actually. Kind of interesting, you know. I don't know. But I guess we can look at, like, the post-game stats of this last game we're doing tonight. Yeah, definitely India's economy was pretty vibrant for the most part. India's economy wasn't even really there too much. Militarily, far more kills on the India side, mainly because they were making really tough units like the Howdah. Combined with bombards and Gurks, that's going to get a lot of kills. But, Inca, because of that solid wood and food eco they're doing, they can afford to mass. They can keep spamming things like plume spears and the jungle bowmen. So they were able to keep up with that for the most part. So kind of an interesting match to say the least. You know, certainly you think, you know what? Maybe we could fit in like one more because that was such a quick one. Let's look for like a really quick one to do right here. Yeah, I didn't know how quick that one was going to be, so maybe we could do this one here. It's another India versus Inca. Oh, it's actually going to be Inca versus Ethiopia this time. Pretty cool. Yeah, same map, survival. So it's a very open map. So yeah, we'll see if Alia's Inca can actually take on the Ethiopians here. Kind of the interesting thing you can do with Ethiopia in the start of the game of death matches, you can start building your palace structures right away. Really powerful defensive buildings to keep your enemies out. So what do the Ethiopians get in like their deathmatch deck? So they have, first they get feudal armies. That makes sense, We see a lot with like the European civs when they're in deathmatch. They'll get like fencing school and Ryan school first, and basically feudal armies is the African equivalent to that. Except in fact in one class of units it affects everything. It affects infantry, cavalry, and technically artillery too. So everything under the sun. Going to start training the Neftanyas alongside the Javelin Riders. Javelin Riders basically Ethiopia's equivalent of the Zamorak, except that they actually fire quicker since they're like a javelin throwing unit. Apparently throwing javelins is a lot quicker than firing the culverins on the backs of the Zamobaraks of India. So yeah, it's going to be doing the Neftanya skirms with that. Anything else? So, oh yeah, he's getting the Italian firearms. Ships little bombard mercenaries and improves the area damage of all artillery. So I imagine this is going to make the Sevastopols of Ethiopia a real nightmare. But looks like he's not even going to make those. He's just going to make the howitzers from the palace instead. Also going to make some Shotel warriors. These are basically Ethiopia's equivalent to the Incan Shimu warriors. Except actually the Shotel warriors with their Shotel swords actually get a couple of multipliers against skirmisher tag units. So pretty good against things like the jungle bows or the Huaraka Bolus warriors, basically. This should be pretty interesting. I don't know how this one's going to turn out exactly. We'll see how that Concha wood trickle and villager corn farm food economy is going to do versus the Ethiopians here. Should be pretty interesting, Certainly, the Ethiopians has a similar advantage as the Asian civs, whereas the Asian civs can deploy a lot of stuff with their export. The Africans can also deploy a lot of stuff with their influence, right? Because the Sevastopols cost coin and influence. They can use their influence to make some very influential units. Pun intended, basically. Yeah, look at the strength of these Sevastopols, especially with that extra splash from the Italian firearms. These things are really going to beat down on top of these war huts here. And with the strong defense in Neftanya and Javelin Rider, these Chimu runners are going to have a bit of trouble trying to make a push on there for sure. Definitely. 100%. Oh wow, look at that stuff. Whew. Trying to get in a little bit there with the Chimus on all sides. Definitely pretty impressive. And trying to down the cannons one by one with the Huericas. One Sebastopol at a time, and then can make a move on to the little bombards. But he is cleaning up a bit here, so maybe these show tells, yep, some of them are actually already engaging with the Huericas right here. Will any of the little bombards survive, though, is the question. I think if at least one of these survives, along with the Sebastopol, yeah, one of these bombards does survive this. But then they have to get through this wave of stuff here. The Inca stronghold is coming up, their Incan fort, so cannons are going to be aimed on that next. We'll see if he can make it through that wave of stuff. Here's another wave of the Chimus. We'll see if these cannons can be defended from that. That nice shipment of the field cannons for the Incas is also going to pose a problem for the Ethiopians, since, you know, field cannons are pretty good at sniping artillery in their own right. Oh no, yeah, that little bombard's going to get annihilated. It's almost down, almost up, there you go, yeah. Has to add in some Berber camels now. Don't be fooled, they're a hand unit, but they have multipliers against cavalry and coyote runners, so they're a pretty formidable melee unit for sure. He's going to try to make a move here onto the back front of his army here, take out some of the Tupi archers. Completely missing the cannons though. Some Mapuche Bolus riders here. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, basically dragoons, but they got splash. So, pretty dangerous unit to say the least. Oh, making some of the Gasconias now. Some of those Ethiopian, technically musketeers, but they throw spears instead of shooting guns, you know. We can call them spear-keteers, I guess. Spear-keteers because they throw spears and they don't shoot guns, basically. The same sort of idea. And they cost wood instead of coin, which on a map with no trees is definitely not a fun idea for sure. You know, one thing for sure that helps out Ethiopia here is these really OP defenses. You know, all these towers and palaces stacked up like this. Look at all the coin and influence Ethiopia's making from that. Quite powerful, actually. And with all that extra coin and influence being made, they still lost. Yeah, that's always fun. Yeah. Yeah, that food and wood eco with the, wow, interesting. So did Aaliyah even get the... He didn't even need the autarky card for the conchas. Just did it alone with just food trickle here. Pretty neat. Pretty neat stuff, I would say, for sure. Let's look at the post-game stats a little bit here. So yeah, I mean, that Leah Kalami in this situation with the Incas seems to beat out India and the Ethiopians. Quite good, I would say. Quite good. How about military? Yeah, I mean, with all the cannons that Ethiopia was doing, they only got one raise, only 25 or 27 more kills? Is that it? That's like nothing. It's like nothing. Nothing at all. Barely even a scratch, I think. Barely even a scratch. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one to say the least. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Oh, yeah, so HVNI said, yes, I didn't have the food, switch the coin card. Oh, yeah, that one. That's one that I actually experimented with Inca for the, when I did that rank game with Stefan Petrovic the other day. He wanted to do some, like, rank games with me. So, yeah, I definitely coded that card in for fun. This was a great game from Tom. He missed out the Merce with 9k influence, though. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I think for like civs like Ethiopia, again, those mercenaries out is just a really good idea, for sure. Because mercenaries can definitely change up really tight survival-based games like that, for sure, 100%. How did they go? Um, what the ranked games I did with Stefan Petrovic on the it was 2v2s essentially. It was just me and him against some randoms. So yeah, basically on the it was me as Inca and him as I'm trying to remember what he was. I think he was Aztecs, I believe. Yeah, he was us Aztecs and Incas, and we were fighting Russia and I believe some other European. And we were able to pretty overpower him quite a bit with our stats. We can play sometime in the future. Oh yeah, most definitely. If you want to play with me anytime too, that'd be pretty neat. Yes, not. Are you ready? Yeah, definitely not ready right now for some ranked games. I'll definitely hit you up on that though. Yep, Inca and Aztecs. The Aztecs are the great aggro civ, whereas the Incas are the great eco civ. So if you can combine them together with their different unit rosters, I think, yeah, that's pretty good, pretty powerful. The second game, though, British and Aztecs was a bit trickier. I think I overextended too much with the British economy, and I got 2v1'd a bit. Stefan Petrovic was sort of on the backside and wasn't able to relay an army to me in time, so we ran into some trouble there. And I think we ran into some problems with the timing attacks because I was sort of telling them, like, we need to attack right now. I'm completely soiled here. My villagers are dead. I don't have an army. So I'm going to try to make some longbowmen here, and we should probably go for a push because basically what Stefan did is he got this really great army of Aztec infantry that was ready to go, and I was saying, like, we need to attack now because every second you wait, the other team of two players in the ranked is going to start constructing things. And if you don't attack within that small window of opportunity, your chance of sieging them goes down and down and down because my economy's dead. I'm not going to be able to support you. Whatever I can train now is what we're going with, and I'll just do a steady one barracks production of whatever I can do. But we need to push this right now while they're still vulnerable, when we might be able to catch one of their TCs off guard, and that's basically all you can do there. Pretty much. So, yeah. How did people like today's stream for DE? Did people like the games I offered you today? Most important in small teams, yeah. I think in bigger teams, like 3v3, 4v4, you can be a little bit more loosey-goosey when you jump in usually, but when you're in a 2v2, it's almost like a 1v1, but there's two armies instead of one. The smaller the team sizes are, the more vital timing with your strikes actually is, because it can really puncture them really hard, or it can be done at totally the wrong time and it can get completely shelled out. Oh, you missed the first games? So yeah, definitely check out the first ones I did. Now, we did some pretty good both Supremacy and Deathmatch games. Yeah. Definitely appreciate the new shipment of recordings you sent me too, so maybe next week we can hit up some of those ones as well. And sort of to fit into the same model as last week, what we're going to do now is Tuesday is going to be like Definitive Edition 3 day for us, and Wars of Liberty is going to be Thursday is going to be like a Wars of Liberty day for us, so yeah. Oh, Prox Warrior, I'm looking forward to the Twitchian Challenge. Yeah, I gotta find some time probably on the weekend, one of these weekends, to do that one. If people here don't know yet, Prox Warrior has a mod that he made called the Festive Edition mod for the old Age of Empires 2, The Conquerors. And he added some pretty creative Civ ideas like the Festivians and he had the Festivians. He has the Twitchians based on Twitch subscribers. He's got the Minecraftians and all these pretty diverse ideas. And what day is the team live stream? The Wars of Liberty one or the DE one? I usually, for that right now, it seems like I'll be doing most of my DE live streams on Tuesdays, and I'll be doing most of my Wars of Liberty ones on Thursdays to keep it nice and organized. As time goes on, maybe we can add to the number of days I do DE live streams when the schedule becomes a bit more free for that. Oh, DE1? Oh yeah, so next DE stream will be next Tuesday. And can you do commentary with it? I love seeing reactions. Yeah, I could. That's a good suggestion. I'll do that when we do the Twitchian challenge. And what we could do too, Prox Warrior, is because I downloaded that new version of the presidential challenge scenario, I could do a redo with not a redo, but I could do a second upload doing the more newer version of the presidential challenge with my commentary there to just share some of my thoughts on how that one went. Oh, you could. DE gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of modding potential. Definitely. I mean, they literally can have live active volcanoes shooting out magma on top of civilians and military and buildings alike. That volcano is probably one of the most fear-invoking things I've ever seen a modder make in Definitive Edition, for sure. Yeah, seeing the volcano basically destroy the AI's armies in the game when I was against the bot. And then when I was seeing Stefan Mitrovic, he was cursing that volcano because he was losing large armies of stuff. He lost about, I think, 10 villagers, he lost buildings, and he lost about 5 cannons to the volcano in Hawaii. Because every time he tried to go aggressive with me and go aggro, the volcano would just start spewing and just cook everything he had. So yeah, I bet if you can get a volcano that deadly, you could definitely get a what's that, Deadpool unit, right? Into the, yeah, definitely. They've had a lot of interesting mods over the years for both the Legacy AoE3 and the DE, so anything like Deadpool or any like fandom series like that on DC Comics or anything would be really nice, for sure. Yeah, I wonder too, well, here's the thing. Oh, a Deadpool campaign gaining gold for defeating enemies and buying upgrades from gold. You know what I just thought of? You know what might be even better for like DC Comics level mods? Putting them in the Age of Mythology Retold game, because with Age of Mythology Retold, it's going to be much easier to make things like God powers, I think, that you might be looking for. So, like, sticking Deadpool in Age of Mythology Retold and giving him, like, infinite bronze armor from Athena. No, not from Athena, from, I'm trying to remember who gives the armor. It's Dionysus, right? Yeah, Dionysus gives you the improved armor. Basically, you use that, and you give Deadpool the bronze armor to make him near immortal like he is in the comics, basically, in Age of Mythology. So that would be a pretty good functionality for that, I believe, too. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoys our live stream on Thursday for Wars of Liberty. That'll be fun. Oh, Wakanda Civ for AOM? Yeah, that we could absolutely do that. I think AOM Retold has all the engine requirements to do that for sure, 100%. So yeah, I definitely think we could pull that one off. Certainly. Yeah. But anyways, I think it's about time we close stream right now. You'll see me again on Thursday doing the Wars of Liberty matches. I can already see mounds of those coming in on that Discord server. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of stuff to cover on that day. So yeah, definitely look out for that. Hoping to get the stream schedule rolling. Definitely as time goes on, I'll be able to do more streams with you too. So definitely looking forward to that. Thanks for the stream. Always a pleasure doing your games for you. You're a very skilled master of AoE 3, both in the side of Supremacy and the side of Deathmatch. If you enjoy watching HV and I doing his games, I cover them a lot on my channel, both in the live streams and on just regular long form YouTube videos too. So check out all his casted matches that I do. Survival and AOM. Yeah, that could be a pretty interesting one. Certainly. I think though any of the Greek civs that has the plenty from Hephaestus though probably has a real advantage there, because having the plentiful trickles you in more wood and food and coin as you need, and then even deadlier in Age of Mythology Retold is you have the rechargeable god abilities. And every time you get enough favor through praying at those temples, you're going to be able to get another plentyvolt and another plentyvolt and another plentyvolt. Or what you can do is you can go up to the Wonder Age, and then the recharge of the god powers is even cheaper in favor. And then you could probably get like a million plentyvolts in the back of your base, protected by walls and towers. And then while everyone else is struggling for wood and stuff to push, whoever is playing as one of the Greek gods, which if I recall, all the Greek gods get Hephaestus, right? So Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, they all get them. Would be able to do that. Hephaestus Flame is an item in Dragon Quest. Oh yeah, most definitely. Black Forest, nothing AOM type. Oh, that you could totally do that for sure. That would be a pretty interesting. You know what might be scary on the Black Forest nothing map for Age of Mythology Retold is anyone who has access as the Norse to Bragi, right? Because if you have access to Bragi in the Heroic Age, you can make the Walking Woods, and then if you go to Wonder and Wonder Age, you'll be able to constantly keep spamming more and more Walking Woods myth units with those trees, and by the time you do get to your enemy, you'll have like a million Walking Woods coming from all sides of the forest and just start stomping down their entire fortification structure. So yeah, I think if you did that for sure, you'd have a pretty deadly situation to deal with there for all those trees. I would play Age of Mythology for that. You never know though, because we don't exactly know how many maps they're actually planning to make in Age of Mythology Retold. And I think too, based on what we know from Wars of Liberty, it is totally possible to make a Black Forest map for Age of Mythology, because if you noticed in the Wars of Liberty Black Forest map, there actually are relics on that map. You just can't do anything with them. They're sort of like props and sort of like an Easter egg to AoE 2, but the Age of Mythology relics are present on the Wars of Liberty Black Forest map. You just can't grab them or anything. Mangle Grove map Infested mod is based on Dragon Quest. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know a lot about Dragon Quest, but definitely read up on that when I'm going on that map, when I'm testing out your mod for sure. I definitely need to get into doing Festive mod in some of those civs, some of the wacky civ ideas like the Minecraftians and so forth. and doing overviews for him because Prox Warrior puts some pretty interesting stuff in his mod. It's got this unit you can train from the Wonder called the Behemoth. It's like a big giant tank with the turtle ship cannon head on the front that just shoots cannonballs at buildings. It's really good. For sure. And Nether is based on you know what. Oh, yep, definitely Minecraft, you know. I've seen enough Hololive VTuber Minecraft live streams to know what Nether is. You don't have to explain that one to me twice. What about Treaty and AOM? Is that a thing? That's a good question. I'm trying to remember back to the times when I was testing the Retold and looking at the game modes. It must be there somewhere. I I think it probably is, but it might not be. I'll let you know on August 27th when it comes out what I see in there. When it really releases. Or, oh, Deathmatch is totally a thing in Age of Mythology. It has Deathmatch. And I know that one because that's actually the first mode I really got into in Age of Mythology growing up when I started playing the game. Deathmatch in Age of Mythology is pretty interesting because what happens is you start out in the first age, but you age up near instantly just so you can pick the minor gods that you want and get their myth units. Right. And it's kind of wacky because you still have the same building requirements, so you still have to build a market or a armory to get to the heroic age. You still need to build a fortress structure to get to the mythic age, so those requirements are still there, but you get the advantage of basically aging up super quickly. It comes with its own wild animal called a Hoglin Zoglin. Yeah. You know what you should do, Prox Warrior? This is my suggestion. What you should do is you should make the festive mod in Definitive Edition because if I recall correctly, don't they have the unit physics and unit models in Age of Empires 2 DE for Minecraft stuff already? Because they had that week of mods that Minecraft week in AoE 2 DE when the boars and stuff were all Minecraft units, right? I even have the PFP of the Minecraft pig in AoE 2 DE to prove it, so you should definitely take your festive mod and bring it to DE where they have more substantial models for Minecraft style units there. You still have to research? No you don't. You just have to age up. All the techs are research for you. All your armory upgrades, all your temple upgrades are already researched. You just have to age up and pick your minor gods, basically. That's it. And another interesting fact, too, that's good to know, basically, you can still reach the Wonder Age in Deathmatch, too, in Age of Mythology. Only difference is I don't think, at least not in Ranked, you can't make Titans, I don't think. But you can still get the cheaper rechargeable god powers by reaching the Wonder Age, though. So you can definitely do that. Prox Warrior, did you see the Reddit concept of World War I to present day mod for AoE 2? Is that for Definitive Edition, or is that for one of the older renditions like HD Edition or the Conquerors? That would be a pretty interesting idea. I think you could totally take the sort of World War I stuff that you got in Wars of Liberty and bring that over to AoE 2. What resources do you start with? I'm trying to recall. I think it might be the same as you get in AoE 3, I think. I believe it's something around that ballpark, either 20k or 25k, something like that. TC, one goal in life I want to do is form a band based on AoE 2 called AoE Core. Well, didn't they have those musical people during the AoE presentation last year that were playing with the instruments basically in the different costumes. Yeah, you could probably do something like that, I think. And probably end up on a AoE company live stream for sure. Be pretty interesting. Definitely. So yeah, 100%. Lots of good questions about Age of Mythology and AoE 2 here at the end of the stream for sure. Definitely liking that for sure. But yeah, I mean, yep, that's a cool thing about AoE. There's just so much stuff that you not only can do with the games themselves, but there's so many possibilities for modding it as well and basically making it into what you want it to be. So yeah, 100%. Alright, I think we're good for now. See you on... Oh, yeah, music made with AoE sounds mixed with metal and catchy riffs. I bet there's someone that's already done something like that, so you might want to reference that on YouTube or SoundCloud maybe and see what they got. You can do it with AI prox warrior. Yep, 100%. ChatGPT or some other AI software out there that helps mix stuff like that. It's pretty insane what you can do with AI, both in terms of music and graphics nowadays. I can only imagine in a number of years what kinds of stuff you'll be able to produce with AI. Good night, Imperial Steletsy. Yep. See you on Thursday with some Wars of Liberty casty games. Sign off now. See you then.